Americans call it being polite. The rest of the world calls it, "What the hell are you doing?" From weaponized small talk to fake apologies for existing, these 101 habits prove that American etiquette is less about kindness and more about absurd performance art. 1. The "How are you?" drive-by. It's not a question, it's a verbal handshake. If you dare to respond with a detailed, honest answer, the entire social contract shatters. The correct and only response is, "Good you?" Anything else makes you a conversational anarchist who just doesn't get it. 2. Aggressive generosity, also known as modern tipping culture. That awkward moment when a cashier spins an iPad around, forcing you to publicly choose a 20, 25, or 30% tip for the heroic act of handing you a coffee. It's not a thank you, it's a hostage negotiation. 3. You lock eyes with a stranger and the American instinct kicks in. A wide, friendly smile. In the US, you're just being polite. Do that in most of Europe and they'll assume you're either running a clever street scam or you've just escaped a mental facility. 4. You see someone a solid 30 yards away, but your manners force you to hold the door. Now you've trapped them in the thank you jog, that awkward, pained half-run of forced gratitude. What started as a kind gesture has become a weird power play of public shaming and impromptu cardio. 5. Someone bumps into you and you say sorry. It's a bizarre reflex to apologize for the crime of merely existing in someone else's path. At this point, Americans are so conditioned to do this, you just know they get home and apologize to the coffee table after stubbing a toe on it. 6. Americans have a deep-seated belief that their private conversations are fascinating public podcasts. They'll broadcast every detail at full volume, thinking they're being open. Congratulations! Everyone at the Olive Garden now knows your aunt's entire medical history and has a very strong opinion on it. 7. A stranger sneezes. Instantly, the entire room erupts in a chorus of "bless you," like a bizarre cult chant. Try not saying it just once. People will look at you like you just kicked a puppy. It's a weirdly aggressive medieval superstition that somehow passed for modern etiquette. 8. Ask an American to ride an elevator in complete silence, and they'll start to break out in hives. This deep-seated terror of a quiet moment leads to the most pointless small talk imaginable. Yes, it is indeed raining outside. We all just walk through it. Thank you for that crucial update. 9. That moment when a guy you've never met calls you boss or chief. It's an attempt at instant rapport that just lands as condescending. No, the 23-year-old behind the counter is not your buddy. You don't know him, and he definitely doesn't want to be your pal. 10. Instead of a quiet Irish exit, Americans embark on the long goodbye. This is a 20-minute farewell tour, where you have the same exact conversation with 15 different people. By the time you actually leave, you've said goodbye so many times it feels less like leaving a party and more like announcing your retirement from public life. 11. You need to give someone criticism, but American manners demand you first swaddle it in 2 layers of cheap, insincere compliments. It's called the compliment sandwich, and it just leaves everyone confused. The person walks away thinking, "So, you love my shoes and my work ethic, but I'm an idiot?" 12. Ask an American for a favor they can't do, and you won't get a simple no. You'll get a 10-minute epic saga of prior commitments, distant cousins' birthdays, and a fictional dog's vet appointment. All that just to avoid a 2-letter word that is apparently the ultimate social taboo. 13. Nothing says, "I love you, but I have absolutely no faith in my own taste," quite like including the gift receipt. It's a beautifully wrapped admission of failure. This isn't a thoughtful present. It's a receipt for a future errand you've just given them. 14. Manic. Over-the-top enthusiasm for absolutely everything. Your new pen isn't just nice, it's awesome. A decent cup of coffee is described with the same breathless intensity someone else might reserve for witnessing a supernova. When everything is amazing, nothing is. 15. You're nursing the last French fry on your plate when a server swoops in to ask, "Are you still working on that?" As if your meal is a construction project you're about to fail. It's the pinnacle of polite eviction, a masterclass in making you feel like you've overstayed your welcome. 16. The Midwest Goodbye. This isn't a single event. It's a grueling multi-stage pilgrimage. It starts in the living room, moves to the front porch, migrates to the driveway for another 10 minutes, and culminates in a final wave as the car is literally pulling away. 17. Admit in a group that you haven't seen the latest hit TV show. Americans will look at you with the same pity and horror they'd reserve for a man claiming he's never heard of the moon. It's not just a conversation starter, it's a mandatory cultural literacy test you just failed. 18. Behold the dance of the last donut. Two Americans locked in a duel of performative selflessness. No, you take it. Oh no, I couldn't, you have it. This isn't generosity. This is a social game of chicken where the first person to grab the donut is declared the greediest monster in the room. 19. Walk into an American clothing store, and you're not a customer, you're prey. Within seconds, an employee materializes with a forced smile and asks, "Can I help you?" Saying just looking is like deploying a smoke bomb to escape, but they will find you again in the sweater aisle. 20. In a bizarre attempt to be both respectful and friendly, some Americans will call adults Mr. John or Miss Sarah. This doesn't sound polite. It sounds like everyone is a character on a children's television show. It's impossible to take a professional seriously when they're called Mr. Dave. 21. You accidentally cut someone off in traffic, and the immediate response is that frantic, apologetic little hand wave. This tiny gesture is apparently a magical eraser for all driving sins. A universal sign for, I'm a menace on the road, but I feel kind of bad about it, so we're cool, right? 22. Hosting a dinner party isn't over until you forced every guest to take home a random assortment of leftovers in mismatched containers they will never return. You don't want it, they don't want it, but this mandatory exchange of future fridge science experiments is called being a good host. 23. Instead of just saying, "Excuse me for a moment," Americans feel compelled to announce their exact intentions. Well, I'm gonna go use the restroom. Thanks for the update, Bob. We all assumed you weren't going to the corner to stare at the wall. The TMI is considered polite transparency. 24. You have approximately 15 seconds after meeting a new American before they hit you with the big one. So, what do? It's not a friendly question about your passions. It's a social X-ray designed to immediately calculate your income and status to determine exactly how much respect you deserve. 25. A server drops a tray of glasses, and the entire restaurant immediately erupts into applause and cheering. This isn't supportive. It's a deeply weird, thinly veiled ritual of public humiliation that Americans have somehow convinced themselves is a fun and charming group activity. 26. You thank someone, and they respond with a chipper, "No problem." This isn't politeness, it's a subconscious power move. It subtly implies that your request could have been a problem, but they, in their infinite grace, decided to allow it. It's the most passive-aggressive "you're welcome" ever invented. 27. The mandatory house tour for every first-time guest. You're forced to walk through their entire home, making generic, positive comments about rooms you don't care about. "Oh, wow, a bathroom, and it has a toilet. You guys have done great work in here." It's an obligation for everyone involved. 28. Uttering the great American lie. We should totally get lunch sometime. This is not an invitation. It is a verbal mirage, a meaningless social placeholder used to end a conversation with someone you have absolutely no intention of ever seeing again. And both parties know it. 29. The parade of the doggy bag. Instead of just admitting you're taking home leftovers for yourself, Americans invented a fictional dog to justify not wasting half a plate of overpriced pasta. It's a walk of shame with a styrofoam box, and the lie is part of the tradition. 30. The absolute chaos of splitting the bill. What should be simple math descends into a forensic accounting investigation involving 6 credit cards, a Venmo chain, and a heated debate over who had the extra side of ranch dressing. It's not about fairness. It's a competitive sport. 31. Turning a simple piece of news into an environmental hazard, also known as the gender reveal party. Americans now consider it polite to celebrate a fetus by detonating colored smoke bombs that can start massive forest fires. It's the ultimate display of self-absorbed, explosive etiquette. 32. When an American is 5 minutes late, they don't just apologize. They deliver a 10-minute monologue detailing imaginary traffic patterns, a series of unlikely obstacles, and a dramatic reenactment of their search for car keys. Just say, "Sorry I'm late," not the script for a Michael Bay movie. 33. Prefacing a deeply insulting comment with, "No offense, but," or, "I'm just being honest." This is the get-out-of-jail-free card for being a complete jerk. It's not honesty, it's a cheap, transparent attempt to dodge the social consequences of your own rudeness. 34. The unspoken social contract of BYOB, or bring your own booze. You bring a nice six-pack of craft beer, only to watch it get consumed by strangers while you're left with a single, warm light beer someone else brought. It's a potluck system designed to punish anyone with good taste. 35. Laughing at a volume typically reserved for stadium announcements. In many cultures, a quiet chuckle is polite. In America, if your laughter doesn't startle wildlife and cause car alarms to go off in the parking lot, you're not considered to be having a good time. 36. The obsession with maintaining a huge 6-foot personal bubble in a checkout line. Americans will guard this space like it's sacred ground. Then they'll cram themselves onto a crowded bus or subway car, breathing down a stranger's neck without a second thought. The logic is non-existent. 37. Forcing a deep personal conversation with the cashier who is just trying to scan your groceries. They don't want to hear about your weekend plans or your dog's skin condition. They have 200 more people to deal with. This isn't being friendly. It's taking a service worker hostage. 38. Starting a request with the excruciatingly slow phrase, "Can I ask you a question?" You are literally already doing it. This isn't being polite. It's a bizarre, time-wasting preamble that just builds unnecessary suspense for a question that is probably completely mundane. 39. Walking into someone's home without taking your shoes off. To much of the world, this is insane. Americans will tramp all the grime, dirt, and public restroom residue from the outside world directly onto their host's clean carpet, and they consider it a normal, polite thing to do. 40. The mandatory Monday morning ritual of asking, "How was your weekend?" Nobody wants the real detailed answer. The only correct response is a vague, upbeat lie like, "Great, so relaxing. You?" Anything more is a gross violation of office etiquette and a one-way ticket to being avoided at the coffee machine. 41. The theatrical gift opening ceremony. You're handed a gift you absolutely hate, but American manners demand a full-blown performance. The fake gasp, the wide-eyed wonder, the declaration that this scented candle is exactly what I wanted. The real gift isn't the item. It's the convincing lie you tell the giver. 42. Ending a phone call requires a 5-step verbal dismount. There's the "all right," followed by the "well," then the "okay then," a "talk soon," and finally the actual goodbye. It's the vocal equivalent of the Midwest goodbye, a ritual of slowly backing away from a conversation for fear of an abrupt ending. 43. Using your barista as a low-cost, on-demand therapist. You're just there for a latte, but you unload your entire career crisis and the drama with your roommate's cat onto a complete stranger. It's not seen as oversharing, it's building a connection. The barista's polite nodding is just a survival tactic. 44. Give an American a genuine compliment and watch them immediately deflect it like a ninja swatting a fly. "I love your shirt" is met with, "Oh, this old thing. I got it on clearance for $5. Accepting praise gracefully is somehow seen as arrogant, so they engage in this bizarre dance of fake humility instead. 45. Corporate emails that are seasoned with a truly psychotic number of exclamation points. To an American, an email ending with a single period is a declaration of war. It's seen as cold and aggressive. So to appear friendly, professional communication now looks like a ransom note written by a cheerleader. 46. Being forced to play bizarre, humiliating baby shower games. Everyone has to pretend they're having the time of their lives while guessing which melted candy bar in a diaper is which. It's a mandatory ritual of feigned enthusiasm for activities that would otherwise be considered a weird form of psychological torture. 47. The empty offer of, "Let me know if you need anything." This is the ultimate non-offer. It's a phrase designed to make the speaker feel supportive while placing the entire burden on the person who is already struggling. It's the verbal equivalent of sending thoughts and prayers to a house that's on fire. 48. The jaywalker's thank you wave. You step into traffic, forcing a one-ton vehicle to slam on its brakes, and then give a tiny, apologetic wave. This small gesture is supposed to magically erase the fact that you just broke the law and nearly caused an accident. It's a truly baffling form of politeness. 49. The social script malfunction of the automatic "you too." The movie ticket agent says, "Enjoy your movie," and you reply, "You too." The waiter says, "Enjoy your meal," and you hit them with the "You too." Your brain knows it's wrong, but your politeness reflex is just too powerful to be stopped. 50. You say "thank you" at a fast food drive-thru, and the employee responds with a robotic, corporate-mandated "my pleasure." No, Kevin, it was not your pleasure. You just spent 8 hours dealing with angry customers over milkshakes. This isn't politeness, it's a script from a dystopian customer service manual. 51. That person who loves to organize their bookshelf and then declares, "Ugh, I'm just so OCD." This isn't a cute, quirky personality trait. It's a way of turning a debilitating mental disorder into a humble brag about being neat, which is one of the most tone-deaf forms of politeness out there. 52. Announcing your intention to leave a gathering with a big, theatrical yawn and a stretch that looks like you're trying to touch both walls. This isn't a sign of genuine tiredness. It's a non-verbal fire alarm signaling the start of the 25-minute-long departure procedure. 53. In America, the single rudest thing you can do at a party is show up on time. Arriving at the exact start time is a social crime that catches the host off guard and unprepared. To be polite, you must be fashionably late, which is a bizarre concept where punctuality is punished. 54. The performance of asking for just a sliver of cake. You absolutely want a normal-sized piece, but you ask for a tiny slice to appear modest. This forces the host to cut an architecturally impossible piece of dessert that immediately crumbles, making everything more difficult for everyone. 55. The mandatory standing ovation. The play was just okay, a solid 6 out of 10 at best. But then one person stands up, then another, and suddenly you're swept up in a wave of emotional peer pressure. Now the entire audience is on its feet, rewarding mediocrity out of a sheer sense of polite obligation. 56. Deploying the verbal white flag known as "with all due respect." This phrase has never, in the history of language, been followed by anything respectful. It's a polite warning shot, a formal announcement that you are about to say something incredibly insulting, but with a thin veneer of civility. 57. Customizing a menu item until it's completely unrecognizable. It's not ordering, it's a list of demands. "I'll take the chicken salad, but no nuts, dressing on the side. Can you add avocado, use kale instead of lettuce, and grill the chicken extra crispy?" This isn't polite, it's co-directing a culinary hostage situation. 58. The obligatory "happy birthday" post on the Facebook wall of someone you haven't spoken to in 10 years. This isn't a genuine well-wish. It's a public performance of friendship, a way to broadcast to your mutual friends that you are, in fact, a very thoughtful person who remembers things. 59. The reply all email chain of gratitude. One person sends a company-wide memo, and another replies to everyone with a simple "thanks." This triggers an avalanche of 20 more people replying all with "got it" or "thank you," turning everyone's inbox into a smoldering crater of useless notifications. 60. The "My child is an honor student" bumper sticker. This isn't for the child, they can't even drive. This is a passive-aggressive trophy, a rolling declaration of genetic and parental superiority aimed squarely at every other driver stuck behind you in traffic. It's competitive parenting on wheels. 61. The bizarre ritual of clapping when the plane lands. What exactly are we celebrating? The pilot successfully doing the one job they were trained for? It's a strange, collective sigh of relief disguised as an ovation. and it just makes everyone look like they've never flown before. 62. Insisting on using your phone's speaker in public. Americans have decided that headphones are optional. Instead, they treat the entire grocery store aisle or doctor's waiting room to a tinny, one-sided conversation. It's not seen as rude. It's just multitasking in the most obnoxious way possible. 63. The customer is always right, even when they are spectacularly, demonstrably wrong. This mantra has morphed from a business policy into a social weapon, giving people a license to be completely irrational and demanding, all while believing they are the heroes of their own story. 64. When someone asks for directions and you have no idea but you give them confident, completely made-up directions anyway. Admitting you don't know is apparently a sign of weakness. It's better to send a lost tourist on a wild goose chase than to simply say, "Sorry, I can't help you." 65. The forced fun of the icebreaker activity. Inevitably, in a new group, an American will suggest sharing your spirit animal or two truths and a lie. This doesn't break the ice. It flash freezes the entire room in a state of pure, weapons-grade cringe. 66. The desperate linguistic gymnastics used to avoid the word died. People have passed on, gone home, or my personal favorite for pets, crossed the rainbow bridge. It's an exhausting effort to sanitize a basic reality of life, making an already awkward situation feel even more stilted. 67. When the waiter asks how your food is the exact second you've taken a massive bite. Your mouth is full, you can't speak, so you're forced to do that awkward, chipmunk-cheeked smile and a big thumbs up. It's a perfectly timed ambush disguised as attentive service. 68. The let me know non-invitation. We're having a barbecue this weekend. Let me know if you want to stop by. This isn't a real invite. It's a way to seem friendly without any actual commitment, putting the social burden entirely on you to follow up on their vague, half-hearted offer. 69. The way Americans describe distance in units of time. How far is it to the city? Oh, about 45 minutes, depending on traffic. This is completely useless information without knowing the speed, but it's considered a perfectly normal and helpful answer. It's navigation by pure vibes. 70. The dance of the four-way stop sign. Two cars arrive at the same time, and both drivers begin frantically waving the other one on. You go. No, you go. This can go on for an eternity, a traffic jam caused by a terminal overdose of politeness. It's the ultimate proof that good intentions can be really dumb. 71. The life story dump on your hairstylist or barber. Americans see a captive audience holding sharp scissors and decide it's the perfect time for an unsolicited, feature-length autobiography. It's not a conversation. It's a therapy session where the therapist is armed and just trying to avoid cutting your ear off. 72. When someone gives you a gift and pre-apologizes for it. It's just a little something, or it's probably not your style. This isn't humility. It's a bizarre social maneuver that forces you to overcompensate with a flood of praise, turning a nice moment into a high-stakes performance of gratitude. 73. The annual Christmas letter. This isn't a friendly update. It's a meticulously crafted propaganda document. Each paragraph is a victory lap detailing promotions, vacations, and little Timmy's soccer trophies. It's a competition disguised as a holiday greeting, mailed directly to your house. 74. The guy at the gym who thinks grunting loudly while lifting weights is a sign of peak performance. To him, he's a warrior conquering iron. To everyone else, he sounds like he's trying to pass a kidney stone the size of a bowling ball. It's not motivational, it's just an auditory assault. 75. The complete destruction of the word literally. Americans now use it to mean figuratively, as in, I literally died laughing. No, you did not. You're not adding emphasis. You're performing a public lobotomy on the English language, and it's considered perfectly normal conversation. 76. The performative fight over the check at a restaurant. Two grown adults will engage in a fake tug-of-war, each insisting they pay. This isn't about generosity. It's a public spectacle designed to prove who is the most generous, and it just makes the server's job incredibly awkward. 77. The dreaded workplace email that starts with, "Just circling back on this." This is the most polite-sounding threat in the corporate world. It's the professional equivalent of a mobster saying, "It'd be a shame if something happened to this project." It's passive-aggressive nagging disguised as a friendly reminder. 78. The relentless, mandatory, "Have a nice day" from every service employee. It's not a wish, it's a command. Delivered with a dead-eyed stare that says, "My manager is watching me, so I am now ordering you to experience joy." The forced cheerfulness is almost menacing. 79. Slapping an emotional support animal, vest on a completely untrained pet, and bringing it into a target. This isn't about mental health, it's a selfish loophole to bring your yapping chihuahua everywhere. It's a perfect example of exploiting a system of kindness for your own convenience. 80. The conversational one-upper. You mention you have a cold, and they immediately tell you about the time they had pneumonia and almost died. Every story you tell is just a launching pad for their bigger, better, or more tragic story. It's a conversation where you are always the opening act. 81. The honk and wave drive-by greeting. Someone you barely know sees you on the sidewalk, so they lay on the car horn like you're about to be hit by a bus, then give a cheerful little wave. This isn't a greeting. It's a manufactured heart attack, followed by a confusingly friendly gesture. 82. Using a baby voice to talk to other people's pets. A fully grown adult will see a dog, and their voice will jump 3 octaves to ask, "Who's a good whittle boy? Is it you?" The dog doesn't understand, and every other human in the room is now experiencing a full-body cringe. 83. The public announcement of one's dietary restrictions when nobody asked. At a party, they won't just decline a cookie. They'll launch into a monologue about being gluten-free, paleo, or on a new juice cleanse. This isn't sharing information. It's a weird form of moral grandstanding through food. 84. The wedding gift registry. This has transformed a thoughtful gesture into a joyless shopping errand. It's a pre-approved list of demands. We celebrate our love, and you will buy us this specific air fryer from this specific store. The romance is gone, replaced by a cold, efficient transaction. 85. Leaving a rambling 3-minute voicemail that could have been a 7-word text message. They think they're being thorough and personal. In reality, they've just given you an audio homework assignment that you are now obligated to listen to at 1.5 times speed while rolling your eyes. 86. The unsolicited grocery cart analysis. A stranger will peer into your cart and say, "Ooh, that brand of salsa is great." This isn't a friendly recommendation. It's a full-scale audit of your life choices, and now you have to defend your decision to buy store-brand cheese. 87. The compulsive use of the word perfect for every mundane transaction. I need a coffee black. Perfect. Can I get a bag? Perfect. Nothing about this is perfect. It's a verbal tick that has stripped a great word of all its meaning, turning it into the most overused, insincere affirmation on the planet. 88. That slow, awkward, backward shuffle used to end a conversation. Instead of a firm goodbye, many Americans will just start inching away while still talking, gradually increasing the distance until they can make a clean break. It's not an exit. It's a human fade-out effect. 89. Forcing everyone at the Thanksgiving table to say what they're thankful for. What's meant to be a heartwarming moment quickly becomes a high-pressure public performance of gratitude, where everyone tries to one-up each other with increasingly profound statements while just wanting to eat. 90. The silent suburban warfare of competitive lawn care. A perfectly manicured, unnaturally green lawn isn't for personal enjoyment. It's a passive-aggressive billboard aimed directly at your neighbors, a pristine green monument to your superiority. It's a polite declaration of war fought with fertilizer and sprinklers. 91. The theatrical, over-the-top apology when you forget someone's name. "Oh my God, I am the worst person alive, please forgive me. It's on the tip of my tongue." This drama isn't about being sorry. It's about making the other person feel obligated to say, "No, it's fine." 92. The classic drive-by command from a stranger. You should smile more. This is never a friendly suggestion. It's a deeply weird and condescending order to rearrange your own face to be more aesthetically pleasing for their viewing experience. It's the pinnacle of polite rudeness. 93. The person who plays devil's advocate in every single conversation. This isn't an attempt to explore an issue from all sides. It's a social get-out-of-jail-free card that gives them a license to be an argumentative contrarian while pretending to be an intellectual. 94. The forced public confession known as the fun fact icebreaker. This ritual almost never results in a fun fact. Instead, it pressures people into revealing a weirdly personal, slightly embarrassing story that makes everyone in the room deeply uncomfortable. 95. Saying, "I'll pray for you," as a conversation ender. While sometimes sincere, it's often deployed as the ultimate polite shutdown, a way of saying, "I have nothing practical to offer and would like this difficult topic to be over now, so I will outsource it to a higher power." 96. The customer service voice. This is the artificially high-pitched sing-song tone that Americans switch to when they're on the phone with a company. It's a bizarre performance meant to signal, "I am a reasonable person," usually right before they make a completely unreasonable demand. 97. The phrase, "I'm not political, but," which is always, without exception, followed by the most ferociously political take you've ever heard. It's a completely transparent attempt to sound neutral and objective right before dropping a conversational grenade into the room. 98. The brutal honesty of an online review. Americans believe it's their civic duty to write a 2,000-word essay demolishing a small business because their latte foam was slightly asymmetrical. This isn't constructive criticism. It's a public temper tantrum disguised as a helpful service. 99. Overwhelming hospitality that borders on interrogation. Are you sure you don't want another helping? There's so much left? Just a little piece? Why not? This isn't generosity. It's a relentless campaign of food-based peer pressure where no thank you is seen as a personal insult. 100. Holding a meeting to plan another meeting. In corporate America, this is considered the peak of organized professionalism. It's not about being prepared. It's about creating an endless, self-sustaining loop of productivity theater that accomplishes absolutely nothing. 101. The assumption that being louder automatically makes you more correct. In any argument or debate, a common American tactic is to simply increase the volume. It's not about the logic of the argument. It's about bludgeoning the other person into submission with sheer decibels. So 101 manners later, tell me this, which one is the dumbest and which one do you still catch yourself doing? Be brutally honest in the comments because I guarantee you're guilty of at least one. Smash like, hit subscribe, and let's see just how ridiculous we all really are.